Okay, do you think there's some like do's and don'ts in Sweden?
Yes, it's probably a lot. And one thing is that you cannot in public telling other how good you are in something, because that
You can't brag.
No, you can't.
Okay. So what's your name and where you're from?
Nicolina Stelborn, and I'm Swedish.
Thank you. Have some like kind of social rules that you like should do or shouldn't do?
Oh yes, of course we have, and especially we don't get too close to each other, people we don't know.
Like on the bus or...
Yes, on the bus, the tube, everything, everywhere in the street. Yeah.
So what's your name?
My name is Jeanette.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so do you think there's some special rules in Sweden?
Lots of rules.
Yeah? But some like unwritten, just that people do or don't?
Yes, lots of things. You're not going, when you're going to shop in the office, you're not going to buy the...
Q.
Yeah, so, you don't go and buy the queue, like the young people can do.
Yeah. Like
Listen,
the old people have more respect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Look.
Yep, my name is Davin Lewis and I come from Cardiff in Wales. And I was born there in 1946 and I lived there until about 1964. And then I travelled around Europe a bit and I ended up in Sweden at the end of 67. And most of the time since then I've been living in Stockholm.
Okay, and what is a typical do in Sweden, which is not a do typical in... no, not a typical do in Wales?
They tell people when they're gonna come.
Okay.
And they always will invite them to coffee with a few more, with some cakes and things like that. In Wales it would be easier just to drop in. And I think that's probably partly climate. That most of the year it is possible just to, without putting on boots and a jacket, it's possible just to walk into somebody, and you don't. It's not necessary to spread it, to give them a spread. It's enough just to say, "Oh, well, nice to see you. What have you been doing?" And "Oh, I'm gonna have a cup of tea. Would you like a cup of tea?" "No, I don't feel like a cup of tea right now. I'll just have one." And then that's okay. But in Sweden, meeting people, going to people's houses is more formalized.
Yeah. Have you found any don'ts in Sweden, like things you can't do here because it's not appropriate?
Yeah, it is less easy to disagree here.
Yeah.
And you find, and it's also less easy to be lively in a disagreement as well. You would be, people would confuse it and think that you were angry with them, rather than you were very, very engaged in the question of homosexuality and you wish to defend and whatever, you know. But instead they would think, "Oh, he's attacking me." Whereas in England or Wales it would be the same. There'd be more freedom to express an opinion. Whereas here you'd be a little more careful. And a very bigger need to reach a consensus, so we can all agree about everything before we go home, because otherwise it doesn't feel so good.
Okay then. We have recognized that Swedes are cowardly. We don't have the venture to stand for our thoughts and what we say. Also, we aren't so especially intrusive with people we don't know.
Why don't you pass the sugar?